The truth about bin Laden. Find out how moneyed interests have warped the message, altered the media, and made the war a for-profit business. You're about to see propaganda samples using fake video designed to control public opinion.
Legend, Osama bin Laden, unreachable, hidden in the Hindu Kush. His event is a metaphor for his power over the U.S., the most hated man in America, for organizing the 9/11 attacks. Pakistan's president openly suggested the U.S. was helpless to find bin Laden, that he wasn't even there.
If you knew where Osama bin Laden was, would you go in and get him and turn him over to the United States?
Let's not talk about whether we'll turn him over to the U.S. or we'll do something here.
But under the radar, America's heroes track bin Laden sent to a palatial compound, not hidden in a remote village. All the ironies ended when a SEAL team raided bin Laden's lair, taking him down by force in a hail of gunfire. August 1998, then-President Clinton orders a Tomahawk missile strike on an al-Qaeda training camp in Afghanistan in response to the bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. Bin Laden manages to escape death, having reportedly left the camps just prior to the attack. December 2001, the U.S. bombards his reported mountain hideout in the Tora Bora region of Afghanistan. Rejoice turns to rejection when reports of bin Laden's death proved to be false. November 2002, reports surfaced that bin Laden is ravaged by kidney disease. However, a doctor who treated bin Laden in the days following 9/11 discredits these claims. September 2006, bin Laden's health once again takes front and center as a leaked French intelligence report claims bin Laden died of typhoid in Pakistan. These claims are quickly refuted.
Al-Qaeda is now out with its own run-up to the 5th anniversary of 9/11, a videotape claiming to show Osama bin Laden and the 9/11 hijackers planning the attacks. The Arab network Al Jazeera broadcast it, saying it reveals for the first time the alleged coordinator of the attacks, Ramzi bin al-Shibh, meeting with bin Laden.
But the question remains, why is his beard white in the previous picture, and it was from the same clip? Now let's go back 2 years to 2004 and see this fake video.
The election in the United States, there would be some kind of a message from Osama bin Laden, and in fact there has been, and so while we let you look at the tape that we have just received a short while ago, we'll give you a little sense of what we know about it, which is not a great deal, what he has said, and we're still gathering people together to try to understand some meaning about it. But very briefly, this is the first videotape we have seen from bin Laden since 2003. It was delivered yesterday to the Al Jazeera office in Pakistan. That is the Arab television network, of course, and what you see now is what we have just seen on Al Jazeera. It runs about 17 minutes long. There don't appear to be any time references on it which tell us that it was done yesterday or the day before or even in the last 6 months, but there are numerous references to 9/11. There are occasional references to the U.S. election and to the election in the year 2000.
Okay, this is from whatreallyhappened.com, and they talk about how the 2004 video was clearly falsified. And we'll take a close look at his face and the morphing of the two pictures and how they just don't match up. Okay, we're going to take a look at the crash of the helicopter. You can see the tail end of the rotor blade. It appears to be a stealth type helicopter designed to not make a lot of noise. It crashed, and it's certainly not indicative of a soft landing like CNN suggested. This is a large end of the rotor section of this modified Black Hawk helicopter, and as you can see, there are no bullet holes riddling the side of it, which implies that they didn't necessarily destroy evidence, as previously stated by the administration. There's the wall of the complex, surrounding the complex. And you can see the shrapnel and debris from the helicopter crash is severe. The rotor blades are severe. Appears to be some scorch markings from the explosion in the background. So this wasn't exactly a light crash as depicted by the news service.
It's a startling image. A haggard-looking Osama bin Laden huddled in a blanket and ski cap, holding a remote control, watching television news coverage of himself. Released today by the U.S. government. shows bin Laden sitting alone in a drab, run-down room in front of an old TV by a bundle of cables to a satellite receiver. The government did not release the audio of the home movie. Bin Laden is watching a broadcast of one of al-Qaeda's many terror messages. In one scene, he appeared Ayman al-Zawahiri walking in the rugged mountains of Afghanistan. Another scene shows the burning towers. The tape was found amidst a mountain of material recovered from bin Laden's lair. The computer disks, handwritten notes, and tapes have now convinced intelligence analysts that bin Laden, to the very end, remained the center of his al-Qaeda network. A senior intelligence official today called the compound an active command and control center. There is clear evidence bin Laden was involved in terror plans and giving tactical directions. Bin Laden, it seems, was also obsessed with his public image. This video clip shows bin Laden apparently rehearsing a speech in front of an armoire, which officials believe was inside his compound. This is another practice session in front of a wrinkled sheet. It may have been draped to hide the background. And here's a clip showing an al-Qaeda blooper of sorts. Bin Laden with a false start and a take two. Officials did find what seems to be at least one yet unreleased bin Laden tape, in which the al-Qaeda leader rails against America. It was apparently recorded late last year, sometime between October 9th and November 5th. It's also clear bin Laden had a streak of vanity. In all of the rehearsal tapes, and in the last videotape message that was released in 2007, the mastermind appears with a dyed black beard. In a candid tape of his TV viewing session, bin Laden's beard was gray, the same color it was last Sunday when he was shot and killed by Navy SEALs. While the government has no plans right now to release any more of the evidence, a senior intelligence official says the U.S. now has unquestionable proof that it was bin Laden who was killed. A final analysis of DNA calculates the odds of it being anyone else at 1 in 11.8 quadrillion. Finally, U.S. officials also say the future leadership of al-Qaeda is now an open question. Bin Laden's deputy, Ayman al-Zawahiri, is the presumed successor, but there are new indications he may be falling out of favor.
Okay, this is from the Guardian.co.uk, in which they state that Osama bin Laden's daughter witnessed his death, according to a Pakistan official. That's just fine, except at the bottom of the article. We'll go down and read this. The White House have confirmed that bin Laden's wife received a bullet wound in the calf during the assault. Pakistani officials said that bin Laden's daughter, whom various reports named as Safina, Safiya, or Aisha, had been hit in the ankle in the moments before the American assault team reached the room where they found her father and later passed out. The wound was possibly caused by fragments from a grenade thrown by the assault team as they attacked. Now, the girl and her mother are believed to be at a high-security military hospital. American press reports cited a U.S. official as saying that Sadah, the wife of Osama bin Laden, had told Pakistani authorities bin Laden had lived in the complex at least part of the time since it was built in 2005. Yesterday, other reports from Pakistan contradicted that statement, saying survivors had told officials they had arrived 5 or 6 months ago. Now, White House Press Secretary Jay Carney confirmed earlier this week that Sadah was in the room with bin Laden when injured. John Brennan, President Barack Obama's chief counterterrorism advisor, had initially claimed Sadah was killed while she was being used as a shield, but the White House later said that account was inaccurate. U.S. intelligence officials have also said that Sadah, rather than bin Laden's daughter, identified the al-Qaeda leader's body. That contradicts the very beginning of this article. The early pictures of bin Laden are pretty clear. You can see the authentic headdress and compare the eyebrows between this one we just saw. And then, now look at this. The eyebrows are completely different. Then compare the noses. This one clearly is larger and more angulated and has a different nostril area. Compare the lips. The lips are very significant on this one. You can see that they're smaller, bunched together, whereas he has much larger lips in real life. So the powerful moneyed interests in the military-industrial complex in America has a vested interest in warping the message that you see on your television. So after viewing all of this fake video, the underlying question is, why didn't Osama bin Laden buy a video camera if he was living near Islamabad for 5 years?